Chris, thank you very much. And Andre Agassi, I suppose you could say so far. Boy, take a breath after that women's match. That was good stuff, wasn't it? Patrick, Agassi has been, I mean, he's had it easy, but he's also been tested here.
Well, I'm interested to hear Chris Fowler talk about boxing because, you know, Andre Agassi, early in his career, he was a slugger. And now he's a guy that hits and moves, and that's what he does, and he does it so well. He did it in the first couple of rounds here. He loves playing in Australia, and he really got tested in his third-round match against the Frenchman, Nicolas Escudé. And this guy's a gunslinger, Escudé, and he was throwing some blows Agassi's way. But Agassi is meticulous now. He prepares so well. He came to Australia in great condition, counter-punching beautifully. This was some brilliant shot-making from Andre Agassi, countering what Escudé was doing, which was really putting Agassi on the defensive quite often. Agassi, you know, he loves to have a match like that early in a tournament because it raises the bar for him. This was match point. He gets through this one in 4 sets. Now, when you talk about this matchup today against Guillermo Coria, Cliff, well, there's going to be a lot of body blows thrown in this match, and most of them are going to be coming off the racket of Andre Agassi.
But by any definition, this has been very good preparation for Agassi, right?
No doubt.
Against him today, Mary Carrillo, we've got Guillermo Coria, this young South American who is, I mean, he's a runner and he is tough and he's had a few good matches.
He really has. Andre Agassi was supposed to meet another Guillermo from Argentina. Guillermo Cañas was seeded 14th in this, and this kid took him out, among others. He's gritty. You know, he's a typical, you know, fine Argentine player, this guy. He's scrappy. He'll go after shots. I mean, he's had some very nice-looking wins. Again, that against Cañas, who knows his way around the tennis court. And then he beat Jarko Niemann, and Niemann, the guy who took out Kafelnikov, another seed in Andre Agassi's part of the draw. My biggest thought going into this is that the real problem for this guy is going to be that he stays so far back beyond the court. I mean, you cannot hit with Andre Agassi when you're hitting from there, at least in my opinion. And so I'm just wondering how he's going to deliver real body blows from that far back.
Could Agassi be better prepared for this match? And as you watch what happened there in his third round match, Korea's that is,
well, he's not number
tournament.
one.
No.
He's not really not
even number one in Argentina.
He's not number one. And guess what? Agassi has an unbelievable record against Argentines. I mean, he's like 5-0 going into this one. So I don't like his chances, frankly. You wanted me to tell you the truth? I don't like this guy's chances.
Be honest, Mary.
Trying to make it 6-0 and trying for a place in the last 8 here. Let's go back to you, Chris.
Cliff, thanks. I don't think anybody here is going to go down there and place a wager, which is legal here on the underdog. Agassi saved 16 break points in that 4-set win over Escudé. He just seems so mentally strong. He doesn't seem like a guy who's going to give away a match to an underdog at this point.
Well, he knows this is the business end of the tournament. This is a lunch pail match for Andre Agassi. He just got to go in there and do what he does best. There's nothing fancy that has to be done in this match. Coria is a fine player, don't get me wrong, but Andre Agassi is at a different level and a different place in his career. He doesn't throw away opportunities in Grand Slams anymore.
We shall see if Hewitt and Agassi can continue on their collision course. It's a draw surrounded by young guns with the oldest guy left, Agassi. You'll see his match coming up.
Dynamic view of this Melbourne Park and the Rod Laver Arena. It is Guillermo Coria, Argentina, and the number 2 player in the world, seeded number 2 here, Andre Agassi of the USA. Didn't play the Australian Open last year, out with a wrist injury, nevertheless ended up the year at number 2 in the world. Now he's in action here. We are in the first game. Coria serving, and this is a break point for the 8 train.
Two missed returns from Agassi, who had a 15-40 as well. So a break for Coria, who's not possessing that much gas on the serve. So Agassi will have plenty of looks at the return to serve.
Advantage Agassi.
Coria's first name is Guillermo. His dad, Oscar, a tennis coach, named him after who else? The great one, Guillermo Vilas from Argentina.
Third break point for Agassi.
Game, Agassi.
1 to the number 2.
First game.
Well, Agassi getting through that match over Escudé, and now things should be a bit easier for him in this one, but the real danger guy in his section is Sebastian Grosjean, who's playing beautifully with a lot of confidence, the Frenchman. He said coming into this year that his goal is to try to win a slam, and this will be a real good opportunity for him. Ferrero is through to the quarters, demolishing Ancic, waiting for the winner, the Ferreira Sargisian, and they're in action. Ferreira up a set, 2-1, and a break in the fourth.
Agassi was one of Korea's heroes as a kid. 11 years separate these two. Marcelo Rios, the other one. It's like playing against your dream player.
$15 love.
18 straight games in that second round against young Tyke Lee. Andre's wife, Steffi Graf.
Four-time winner of this event, 22 majors in all for Steffi, including 7 Wimbledon crowns. That's why Andre has a hard time, getting too excited about the fact that he's won every major. She's won every major at least 4 times.
Second all-time in singles titles.
That's to Margaret Court,
who has an arena named after her down here in Melbourne now.
40-15. Game Agassi.
Agassi, the third oldest to start here, is the oldest left, as you mentioned, 32 years and 8 months old, but the guy is in spectacular shape. There's something that keeps him going. Hugely successful player by any measure. You mentioned he's won every one of the 4 slams. Only 5 players in history have done that.
He's won this tournament 3 times. This has been his best major. He's only played here 6 times. This is the 7th year for Agassi down under. Head-to-head, it wasn't pretty. Agassi losing just 2 games. That was last summer in Cincinnati.
Love 15.
What's his plan?
Well, his plan, I'm not sure, Mary, but he plays actually a sort of a similar style to Agassi. He's got the two-handed backhand. He's got a pretty good feel for the ball. Of course, Agassi takes the ball earlier, hits it harder. He doesn't really have that many options, Mary. It's not like he's going to serve and volley.
15-0.
He's going to try to out Agassi, so you can imagine how well that's going to go over.
Killer Cahill's had a couple of good horses, hasn't he?
Yep.
30-15.
Brought Leighton Hewitt to #1 in the world. They split up at the end of 2001.
And this man feels very strongly that he could get to #1 in the world again.
$40-15.
Gil Reyes, a very big part, literally and figuratively, of the Agassi camp. I think he's done more to keep Andre Agassi around than anyone.
I agree with that. I think he's been a huge mentor.
What a return of serve right on the line. And yeah, this is going to be such an attackable part of Korea's game for Andre. You can't put in serves like that are about 100, 109 miles an hour, that one.
Game, Coria.
Quick off the mark, Andre, but couldn't get to that. Winner forehand from Korea, 2-1 Agassi. Break a serve, first game, 5-set match. This event has become so huge in Australia. It permeates just about all of Australian life for 2 weeks. And these folks who cannot get into this Rod Laver Arena can watch it on the old big screen out there in the plaza area. And there's a look at show court 3. And behind that, you've got the skyline of Melbourne, very close to the stadium. The Roland Garros Stadium in Paris is not that far from downtown Paris, but there's no stadium that's closer to downtown than this one is to Melbourne. It's a very friendly tournament in so many different respects, this first slam.
Two games, 2 points in a row now where Korea's court positioning puts him at a distinct disadvantage against Agassi, who likes hugging that baseline.
Agassi off to a quick start with his serve as well at 86%. He is so consistent now with that serve. You know, he used to be a bit more flashy with that serve, but now he picks his spots. He uses that serve to do just what he did there, to set the point up for himself, to use those big groundies.
Game, Agassi.
3-1 Agassi.
Agassi leads 3 games to 1.
One of the greatest starters I've ever seen in men's tennis, the way Agassi comes out of the gates.
NBA Tonight coming up next.
And that doesn't just happen, that you can just have a mindset of coming out. Agassi, even when you practice with him, he comes out immediately, hitting the ball hard, moving quickly. As soon as he steps on the practice court, he's ready to start working. He doesn't sort of lope around out there, and that transfers over into his matches.
I've seen him practice in Davis Cup, Patrick, especially against the practice partners that you deliver up. He pounds them into submission.
Oh, yeah.
Like 1 hour with him is like 4 hours against anyone else. Again, look where Korea's operating from.
Now that's going to go wide. Agassi wins the point. Korea's serving 15-all, 3-1 Agassi.
15-all.
First time I ever heard of Korea, it was not too complimentary about him. He's one of the few guys who have come up dirty in drug testing. That happened to him in 2001, and he lost 6 months of his career to it. Leighton Hewitt was speaking to the drug testing because new measures have come into place, and it's not just urine testing now, but blood testing. And Hewitt said he gets tested all the time, even when he's off on holiday.
Yeah,
they come to
your
his
house,
door.
It was nandrolone metabolites that he got suspended for Korea. It turned out that later it was found that the banned substance was contained in a food supplement that hadn't been labeled, but of course the players are responsible for what they put in their bodies.
They get a very long list
Yep.
of the stuff they're not allowed to take.
Game point, Korea.
He's just not thinking. I mean, he's done twice in the game. He's tried to come up with drop shot winners. And again, against Andre Agassi, it seems a bit desperate, doesn't it?
It's desperate, but I think it is. I think he actually is thinking, Mary. He's thinking that if I don't do something drastic, I'm just going to get pummeled.
Right.
Deuce.
And one of the reasons that Agassi focuses so intently on starting quickly is just to force his opponents to feel like this. And the sooner Agassi can accomplish that, the easier his day can be.
Advantage, Agassi.
First double for Korea. Now Agassi with a chance to go up 2 breaks.
Deuce. Advantage, Agassi. Game, Agassi.
Le Punisher. 4-1.
Leads 4 games to 1.
And he's going to serve. Melbourne, Australia, Melbourne Park, show court 3. The plaza area, that is just literally a stone's throw from where we're sitting watching Rod Laver Arena on the other side of that camera that's taking the picture of the big screen in the plaza. Andre Agassi so far, a walk in the plaza, 4-1. He is serving a couple of breaks against Guillermo Coria, young Argentinian who has not found any answer yet.
He's only won 2 points against Andre Agassi's serve. And he's already been busted twice.
That's really Korea's only shot. He's got to try to get Agassi stretched out wide, and he has to do it early in the point. Once the points gets going, Agassi's superior firepower and shot making will just wear the youngster out. Well done by Korea, able to open up the court with the cross-court forehand.
15-30.
Set up for the two-hander up the line. This one opens the court up, steps in. Only his second winner.
You just joined us, a very friendly welcome this evening in the USA. It's late afternoon, not so late, about 20 to 5 in the afternoon here in Melbourne. We're live Melbourne Park. We have 3 American men alive in the 16s. James Blake yesterday with the win over Alberto Martin, and Andy Roddick easily over Fernando Vicente. Join Andre Agassi, all looking for places in the last 8. Blake and Roddick will be in action tomorrow.
Deuce.
Second time for Coria here at Melbourne Park. 110 on the Porsche radar gun. Didn't play last year here because of that suspension.
Nobody has a half volley drive like Agassi. I've never, in all of the years that I've been watching this and playing it, never seen anybody who hits the ball with such authority from so far back. Virtually a half volley drive. It's amazing.
It's timing, isn't it? You know who could do that? His wife.
Yeah, with the forehand side. She could,
Steffi
yeah.
Graf could take shots off her shoe tops better than anyone I've ever seen. It was just astonishing.
Oh, speed, baby. Deuce.
Well, you see why this youngster has been winning matches consistently at the slams. He reached the 3rd round at the French and at the Open last year. He's consistent. As Mary said in the Open, he's gritty. What he lacks against Andre is the firepower.
Four-one first set, deuce.
Advantage Agassi.
Agassi has been center stage for, in fact, he's been center stage really from almost the first time he stepped onto the court, those long flowing locks of the early days. Win or lose, crowds were always mesmerized by his aura. Still are.
Had that whole Zen thing going for a while too, didn't he?
Actually, Barbara Streisand attached that to Andre
she gave him the
Agassi.
Zen.
He didn't show up one day and said, I'm into this Zen thing. But the interesting thing with Agassi is I've tried a couple of times to sit down with him and ask him to discuss video of his, great wins, like his first Wimbledon, and he just starts. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't concentrate on anything but my hair." He said, "I cannot believe I went through that much."
5-1 Agassi.
I didn't hear Andre saying he didn't want to have anything to do with that Zen, Mary. Barbara was talking about it.
Love 15.
Continuing to punish the Coria second serve, and first serve for that matter.
Patrick, did you watch Ancic going down today in flames?
I did see quite a bit of it, yes. Ferrero was devastating.
He was great.
Ancic will be on the other side of court from your boys at the first round of the Davis Cup against Croatia. Agassi now with love 30 in this game, 2 points away from the first set. No contest yet.
Oh. 15-30.
Set point to Agassi. It's just difficult to imagine him having any kind of a letdown. Cannot translate those words from Korea. But he's just so into this thing now.
You don't speak Korean? Sorry.
Yeah, the only way to see any trouble for Agassi if he completely loses his concentration.
Sort of wonder what might have been with Agassi if he'd started to play this. What were we saying the other day about from the time that he was 29 years old, he's won more slams than all those years
majors
before?
Yep. He's won 7 overall. Oh, that's just abusive.
No problem. In under half an hour, Agassi has won the first set.
I hate puns. It's the lowest form of humor. It's just so sophomoric and bourgeois.
First set
15.
easily to Agassi, 6-1. His first game here, second.
A little salt in the proverbial wound.
Game Agassi.
It's pretty lethal, this effort of Agassi. He was that way in his second round. I'll say that he was tested by Nicolas Escudé, and he passed that test with flying colors. I mean, Escudé has got the kind of game that can hurt anybody. It's the kind of game that could hurt Leighton Hewitt as well. And Agassi just pummeled him.
Yep, he's hitting the ball cleanly. You know, we go through these matches, Cliff, and when we have a commercial break or the set finishes, you know, our producer Bob Feller will talk to me and say, "Oh, Patrick, we got to do this little match summary. You know, do you have any ideas of, you know, what the keys have been in this match?" As you see the 17-match win streak for Agassi pulled out last year. My suggestion, you know, when they walked out for the match.
That's
for this
pretty,
one.
That's pretty
It could be the key. That could be the between the lines.
That was it?
Are they listening to this in Argentina? That's pretty cruel.
Well, there's the match right there. Here's the walkout. That's Patrick in the stands.
There I am. There I am. When I go to Argentina next. There you go. I mean, you got to take some chances if you're Coria. His normal game of sort of counter punching is obviously not going to work. So might as well take some rips at the ball, try to create some openings.
I was telling Chris Fowler the other day about the greatest commentator of all time, Bjorn Borg. French Open, he made his debut for NBC. He was working with Dick Enberg, and there was this big fancy pants, ding, and the, you know, pictures of Paris and the beauty, the art, the this, the that. And I think it was Lendl who was about to destroy somebody in their first match. So, you know, Ivan Lendl, what, the warrior, he's this, he's that, but he's playing a spunky young somebody who beat somebody else, you know. And so Dick is lining up, just setting it up for Bjorn. And he said, "And Dick, what about this young player? What do you think is going to happen?" To which Bjorn Borg said,
Game Coria.
and I quote, "He has no chance for sure."
End of comment. Right.
Coria has got on the board here in the second set. One apiece.
Agassi opening up the court so well with that wide serve. Nice thing about Agassi's serve is he can slide it wide there, and he can also kick it out wide. He can also kick that serve out wide in the ad court to pull the receiver further out on that side. I can remember watching, as you see, a good construction here from Coria. I can remember watching when Brad Gilbert was with Agassi, and they would they'd be on the practice court, and they'd get to the point where they're working on their serve. And of course, there's a lot of chattering going on with Andre and Brad. But when Andre would go to hit his practice serves, they would call out where they were going to hit it. They would call out the speed. What's it going to? Of course, there was no radar gun. They'd call whether I'm going to hit a slice or a kick or hit it flat.
That's Brad, boy.
But they had one I really liked, which you'll enjoy, Mary, was the slice kick up the middle. I kid you not. It was the slice kick up the middle. Still trying to figure out exactly what the spin on that serve. Oh, wow. That's the best hitting of the match from Coria.
But at the end there, I mean, he came under it there like a squash shot because he was, I think, exhausted. Watch.
Exhausted, out of position, and just under a barrage.
Game point, Agassi.
That was the slice kick right there.
Deuce.
Wayne Ferrero of South Africa through. Juan Carlos Ferrero, Spain through. They are quarterfinalists in the women's. Some terrific stuff. And are down over Lindsay Davenport, 3 sets. And here on Rod Laver Arena, Venus Williams over Antikova.
Mike Morrissey making the correct call there, overruling, giving the ace to Agassi. That's his first.
Venus Williams plays Daniela Hantuchova now for a place in the last 4.
Deuce.
That was beautifully timed by Coria. Hard hitting from both. Very snappy little winner to bring it back to deuce.
Advantage Agassi.
Broke the string, Coria. That was a pretty good effort with the broken string. Break that more often and come to net.
That racket really held the tension for a while.
Agassi's in front, 2-1. Coria will serve, and we come back live to Melbourne Park.
Brilliant.
Medical timeout.
The friendly face of Australia. The trainer's out. Let's go down to Mel.
Well, Cliff, the problem that Guillermo Coria is having right now is he's having blisters on his feet. He actually had his feet taped prior to coming out onto the court, and you know the weather's pretty warm right now. It's close to 90 degrees out on the court right now, and obviously the court surface itself is a lot hotter than that. And you guys have been talking quite a bit about how Andre Agassi is the punisher and making him run quite a bit. I don't know if you've noticed, but the last couple of games he's been looking at his feet, and I'm quite sure his feet are burning a little bit right now, and so he's having those blisters taken care of.
Mel, is this court anywhere near? You've been down there when it's really hot. I mean, are we even close to that?
No, we this whole week we haven't had the temperatures, the 100-degree temperatures that we're certainly bound to have eventually. You know, it's really not the Australian Open until you have a couple of those days where you get well into the hundreds. But when you're out here on the court and you're down a 6-1 to Andre Agassi and he's moving you side to side, sometimes your feet will certainly feel like they're well over 100 degrees.
2 games to 1 Agassi. Coria to serve. We'll take a break now. Rod Laver Arena. We'll be back. He's given us some fun here in this Rod Laver Arena, hasn't he? Emerson, Crawford, Rosewall have also won it at least three times. Agassi trying to make it 4.
15 love.
He's the only player in the men's field left that's won this tournament before, Andre Agassi. Kafelnikov was another who had won here before, but he went out early. Thomas Johansson, the holder of this championship, didn't even show up because of injury.
15 all.
Nor did Pete Sampras, of course, who's won this event a couple of times.
NBA tonight, after our live coverage here of this round of 16 men's singles featuring Andre Agassi.
Again, more problems from Coria. These guys who grow up on the slow red clay of Argentina, I mean, this kind of concussive surface with no give at all, just so much grab, makes it even harder.
And Mary, that really is the biggest difference for these guys trying to transition. Not so much the way they hit the ball, but the way they move.
Yep.
And these guys are used to moving. That last serve had nothing on it, 86 miles an hour. They're used to sliding into the ball. And all of a sudden that jarring, that quick change of direction on this type of service. Coria maybe calling it quits.
I think he's giving it up.
This looks like it is it, and Agassi is the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Mr. Coria is unable to continue the match. Game 7 match Agassi.
You've got blisters and you're playing Andre Agassi, you've really got no chance for sure.
Exactly.
What a week it's been for Andre Agassi, huh, kids? I mean, the last couple of rounds, especially, have not taken much out of Agassi. He's in very good form, and frankly, I mean, going into week 2, he has just not extended himself nearly as much as anyone else.
Well, he's been able, Mary, to keep all his reserves in the tank, and that's got to make Andre Agassi feel very, very good going into the meat of the matter, the second week of this major. Differential, it was all Agassi from the start. Bill Norris trying to help out Guillermo Coria. Too bad for him that he couldn't at least give his best effort out here.
Agassi has really just been, he's been brilliant from the start. Escudé really tested him. I thought Escudé played a terrific match against Agassi, but he was up against a guy who's just making so few, relatively speaking, unforced errors. Agassi's only made 9 unforced errors in these 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 games. 9 unforced errors. That's how it looks now. Mantilla and Grosjean up next.
So he'll wait for the winner of that one. I expect will be Grosjean. The Ferrero. I think I'm going to go with the O in that one.
Andre Agassi is through. He's in the last 8 of this first Slam of the Year here in Australia. Walk over Guillermo Coria of Argentina.
This is so bright up here.
Well, welcome back to Melbourne Live. Well, the Kostya-Tszyu fight stopped on cuts in 6 rounds. The Agassi match stopped on blisters in the second set as we go to Mal Washington.
Andre, you move through to the next round. A little less tennis than you probably expected today against a pretty tough player.
Yeah, no question, and not just less than I expected, less than I wanted. I mean, you want to be out here playing because that's what gets you ready for the next one, and so it was a bit of a disappointment for the fans for the tournament here, but well, I'll have to give it a go next round.
So you don't look at it as an advantage, the fact that you got a little less time on the court, maybe get a little more rest leading into your next round?
Yeah, I suppose it all depends where your tank is, and for me, I felt pretty strong and I felt ready to go, and there's always a day off after each one, so it's a little tennis in the span of a few days, but I'll be ready. All
the best in the next round. Chris, let's send it back up to you.
Mal, thank you very much. Jim, you played a lot of matches on these rebound days courts. I mean, understandable that a blister would be so painful you'd have to quit. And how do you feel about what Agassi said, wanting more work today?
Well, the first one, I just don't see how Coria can have a blister. He's only dropped 1 set in this tournament. The weather hasn't been hot. Generally, if you're sweating a lot and the friction in your shoe gets in there from the sweat, that's when the blisters come. This one's unexplainable for me. And as for Agassi, he had the tough match against Escudé. I think that match, like Larson's match with Hewitt, has gotten those guys ready for a seemingly unavoidable match in the final.
Well, Grosjean would be the next opponent, we think, in the next round for Agassi. That would be tough. Pacific Life between the lines. Analyze this drubbing.
Well, I think P-Mac had it best. The minute these guys walked out of the tunnel, this match was history, particularly if Coria had blisters on his feet. I mean, this guy runs you more than any other player on tour. And, Agassi just flawless. About what we expected.
Agassi's one of the guys that believes there should be no policy to stop a match or stop play here because of heat. He says he trained for that. Here he is, the oldest guy left in the draw by far almost, and he seems to have no physical problems out there with the heat, the rubber.
And I'm with him. I think this is what you do the work for if you're a player. Listen, Andre Agassi has an advantage against most opponents because he prepares more. Now, whose fault is that? I mean, let's just call it the way it is. If it's hot, let's play. If it's windy, let's play. No excuses. Very simple. This is not the Andre Agassi I knew at Nick Bollettieri's. This is a whole new man, and I like it a lot.
In the women's match, we saw that classic. Justine Hernandez, 6 minutes for the diagnosis and the treatment of cramps. She was given 6 minutes to recover and goes on and beats Lizzie Davenport. So the trainers and the policies continuing to be important here, but Agassi, just oblivious, rolls on to the quarterfinals.